Good afternoon. It is Wednesday, October the 19th. This is Neil. Midweek, simpler futures, midweek market update. Don't have a lot, but I'm going to do the best I can with what I've got to work with. A lot of, look, it's gone nowhere, really, since the beginning of the week. But here's what we got. The week opened about 3,600. It's been up to 3,775, which basically sort of kind of call that 38, right? So, and it's right back here in the middle. I mean, dead in the middle at 3,700. Now, in all of that, the balance, the over under here is 3,690, which, by the way, was really basically today's low. But here's what I think's going on. Okay, switch time frames and get a higher time frame kind of a view, right? Okay, we know about this deal right here, this 3650s. That was the bearish target on the way down. If you remember, we were looking for that 3650s, so that still remains. There's balance there. There's also one below that at 3,600, and that was the week open. That was the T2 on the way down, 3,600. And this is the one, if you remember, on Friday last week, I was like, yeah, this is a pretty big level. This will probably hold. And it ends up being the open of the week and the low of the week. But from these two guys, it's reaching up to test this one. And this one, as you can see, is the target that I've been talking about. You see, this one is we said about 86, remember, and 90, like 4, or even 3 or 4, 93 or 4, 94. 86 and 94. Those two big, 86 would be the key main kind of target, but it'd probably hit 94 while it's up there anyway. They're both, standout HVN balance up there. So it's reached down to test these guys, reaching up to test this guy, and obviously what it's doing in the meantime, as it's just back and forth this week, is it's filling in the middle. You see, it's got the middle here between these two lower distributions and the upper one, because remember, the upper one was a gap. It was an island, 3-day island. So there's a gap. This little concave portion of the profile right there where there's nothing. There's nothing, because it gapped up there and it gapped down. So there's nothing there. So this part is the fill in that concave void, if you will. And that's it. I mean, and we do this evidently until we get through this expiration at the end of the week. I mean, we had Netflix report yesterday, and it did very well. But then we had the UK inflation numbers last night after Netflix, and they were horrific. They were terrible. I mean, they were extremely high. Then we had Canadian inflation numbers, and they were nothing nice, although they weren't nearly as bad as UK, but they were not good. And so, it looks good after market yesterday on Netflix, and then last night about European, then it settles back down. Well, this is the sideways part of this fill in the void is what's going on. So what I did was I ran, fibs from the low of the week here, from the open up to the high. It puts the low today on the 50% retrace. That's what today essentially is. When you do 36 by 38, obviously 37 is the mid, right? And so it's, all's not lost here. I guess I would mostly say I don't look for really much of anything. It's just more of this until it's not. But I really don't expect to see that. I don't understand it's not reaching up to finish this test up here before finally answering the question if it's time to give it up and really roll. So while it's accomplishing filling in the void on the sideways trade, I still have to tell you I still have to really moreover anticipate that we finish the test up to these levels that I've given you up here, and then we get to learn. And and frankly, I moreover anticipate it to fail and really puke. But we'll learn that together, in real time whenever it first gets there for that final test or whatever. So, look, what am I trying to say? I mean, I put this whole puzzle together and I'm saying we tested lower, we tested these guys down here. We're testing up to test this guy up here. Meanwhile, we're accomplishing nothing but sideways to fill in this void. And at the end of the day, I'd have to say I cannot expect that this uptick is over until it finishes the test up here and then rolls. So that means we're going to hang out here for a little bit more of this sideways to higher, and then we'll talk about getting, I guess it means we get through this expiration, and then we get to talk about really, what's next. And there'll be differing views and opinions on that. Some folks will think that the low is in for the year, and others are going to say, no, this is a dead cat bounce, and the next leg, really gets slammed. I was looking at Fed funds futures, and we're priced in 96% likelihood of a 3/4 point rate adjustment for the November 2nd meet, and also an extremely high, I forget the exact number, but an extremely high likelihood of an additional 3/4 point on top of that for the December 14th Fed meet. So that means there's still priced in anticipation and expectation of an additional 1.5% still yet uptick in the Fed funds, rate between now and the end of the year. And that has me thinking lower. That's part of my reasoning, but certainly I'm thinking lower. But this update is all about, where are we, how did we get here, and really, what lies immediately ahead. I've answered the where are we and how do we get here. I'm trying to answer what I believe is what appears to be lies immediately ahead, and that is still a little bit more up here before we get to learn what's really next. Okay, I'm trying to help, but I'm not working with much. I see Tesla reported, they went out at like 220. They're about $10 lower after the report. But that's not a big deal because the expected move was like $18. So that would mean to me that you'd let that settle down an additional probably $15 before, over and above where it was on the initial $10 break, before you'd be interested in maybe buying Tesla. So it'd be lower first before I'd be interested in that. Maybe if that helps. If anybody's interested in that, maybe look at like the 100 and call it 94 or $5 level. Okay, good trade, nice evening. Look forward to being with you again at the next update, but until then, good trading.
Without simpler trading, I could not have financial independence.
This is one of the best investments I ever made in my life.
It's helping me find consistency.
It's one of the things that won me